He set the alarm for 5 like he had for 10 years. The city slept. He moved quietly through the small flat. Arman made 2 plain breakfasts. A radio hummed an old song his wife loved. He folded a napkin and placed a note on top. Love, Dad. He packed the sandwich into a tin box. He kissed the photograph on the dashboard before leaving. Mira slept rolled up among crayons and paper. Her drawings lay like a silent conversation. She had drawn tall buildings, windows, and a woman in a suit. Her hair smelled like soap. Arman watched her and felt the shape of a missing voice. He whispered, "Daddy's here." He had said it every morning for a decade. She never answered. Doctors gave labels. People gave pity. Therapists asked for patience. Some said she might not speak. Others offered cures and pamphlets. Arman took what helped and ignored what humiliated. He worked long hours at a noisy garage. He fixed mufflers and brakes. Grease under his nails became his daily currency. He counted coins at night and told Mira stories by a small lamp. There was a photograph of his wife on the dashboard. Her smile looked like summer through glass. Once, when a customer pushed him for being slow, Arman held back anger and tightened his jaw. He thought of Mira and kept quiet. He hummed the radio tune later in the dark. Hope to him was a small, stubborn habit. One afternoon, Mira slid a little booklet across the kitchen table. The pages were neat, full of buildings and a woman with a bun. On the last page, in small, wobbly letters, were 3 words. Find her. Ilara. Arman blinked until the letters steadied. He had never heard the name. He asked, "Who is Ilara?" Mira pointed to a tiny door with an even tinier sign. The name sat there like a seed. Debt notices pinned to the garage door rattled like dry leaves. The bank had frozen accounts. A court stamp said, "Hold." He had traded a watch and a ring for medicine once. He had borrowed and repaid and then borrowed again. Still, he kept Mira safe. He kept stories and small rituals that told the world they were not broken. Then a heavy envelope arrived with thick paper and gold letters on the front, Ilara Corporation. His hands trembled as he broke the seal. Inside was an invitation. Bring the child. We need to speak about her future. Foo-hoo. The words felt both ordinary and huge. He folded the letter like a prayer and kept it close tonight alone. The building rose glass and silver into the sky. It made the sun shinier and Arman smaller. He held Mira's little booklet like a map. Security at the door checked their names and smiled like machines. The guard asked for reasons. Arman had the letter. He had his pockets of grit. The guard picked up the drawing and studied it. Something softened. In the elevator, mirrors multiplied Arman's face. He practiced breathing. Mira hummed the old radio tune under her breath. The doors opened to a long corridor lit by glass. A woman in a neat suit, Sophia, greeted them kindly. She led them past potted palms and framed awards into a room that felt like a home pretending to be an office. Ilara sat behind a desk that smelled faintly of coffee and paper. Her hair was pulled back. Her voice was calm. She looked at Mira like she belonged. "Mr. Khan, thank you for coming," she said. The name hit Arman like wind. He swallowed. "You invited us," he said quietly. "You invited us," he said quietly. Ilara placed a thin folder on the desk. Inside were papers, notes, and a sealed envelope. "We have watched her file," Ilara said. "We have watched your efforts." She told them that years ago she had set aside a trust for Mira. It was meant to secure a future, to hold money and protection. The plan was simple and sincere. Then the world's small cruelties happened. Fines, liens, an unpaid bill, a bank hold. Paperwork had not been completed. The trust remained blocked. Arman felt shame like a cold. He had believed someone's promise once, in a hospital room long ago, that someone would look after his daughter. He had trusted. The trust's hold felt like betrayal. Ilara admitted she had misjudged. "For that I am sorry," she said. Her apology opened a dozen windows of grief. Ilara explained legal tangles and a clause that needed a guardian's signature. She spoke of offers stalled by red tape. The admission was not a simple thing. It was an unraveling of past choices. Mira watched and placed her small hand over Arman's. The room seemed to lean in to listen. Then Ilara reached into the sealed envelope and lifted a single paper. It was a form that could start the release. "We can clear this hold," she said slowly, "but we want this to be dignity, not rescue." Arman looked up. The word dignity felt heavy and soft at once. Something like hope started to move. Sophia poured tea. The air felt charged with possibility and with accountability. Ilara did not offer pity. She outlined steps, legal support to clear the hold, funds released in careful measures, and a role she hoped Arman would accept, not as a charity beneficiary, but as a manager for a new program to help fathers who had kept faith. Arman listened. He felt the ground shift beneath him. The offer sat on the table like a new shape of life. He had to decide whether to accept work inside that building or to refuse and keep their small world private. Mira's drawing tucked into his palm seemed to hum with quiet insistence. Arman's chest tightened. He looked at the paper like it might disappear. The numbers meant safety. The job title meant dignity. He had never expected an office. He had expected a roof and small mercies. Now someone offered him work inside a place he had only seen from outside. "Why me?" he asked. The question was small and heavy. "Because you never stopped," Ilara said. "Because someone told us about a man who read stories at midnight and hummed the same song each morning. We needed someone like you to run a program for fathers." Ilara explained she was opening a charitable branch for single parents. It would offer training, jobs, and legal help. She wanted a manager who knew how to keep a child's world whole through hardship. "We need someone with heart," she said. Arman felt both shame and a strange hope. He thought of counting coins on the kitchen floor. He thought of the rusted van and the photograph of his wife's smile. He had scraped and borrowed. He had kept promises to a child who never complained. Sophia brought tea. The room felt crowded with possibility. Ilara asked. "Mira draws offices," Arman said. She wrote, "Find her." Ilara. Ilara turned the pages gently. "She has been waiting," Ilara murmured. "Waiting for what?" Arman asked. For this moment," Ilara said. "Not just money, for recognition. For someone to see her and say she belongs. Your daughter knew the name, perhaps longer than any of us realized." A quiet fell. Arman wanted to shout and cry together. He wanted to demand answers. Ilara said sometimes children keep silence like a kept letter, until the right hands open it. She understood more than we thought, she added. Sophia spoke up. "We want to offer you the position, Mr. Khan. It includes a living wage, a small apartment near the office, and legal support to clear the block trust. We cannot undo every wrong, but we can start rebuilding." Arman bowed his head, overwhelmed. Mira reached up and touched his arm. Her fingers were cool and steady. Then she spoke. "Daddy." The sound landed like a first rain. It was thin, almost a secret. The room froze. He looked up. Tears spilled down his face. "Daddy," Mira repeated, stronger now. Arman laughed and cried at once. He held her hand until the world felt anchored. Ilara watched them with a soft, complicated look. "We will begin the paperwork," she said. "We will clear the hold. But know this too. The work we want you to do will help others like you. Will you accept?" Arman thought of nights and hungry mornings of promises kept alone. He pictured Mira at school drawing without worry. He thought of building dignity for other fathers. He nodded and said, "Yes." Outside, the city seemed different. Hope arrived in small loans of grace and steady, ordinary work for their days and nights, too. 1 year later, their mornings felt steadier. Well lived near the office, Arman learned to wear a clean shirt. The job was honest and full. He ran classes, met fathers who smelled of oil, and taught skills that kept families together. Mira began school. She drew playgrounds, teachers, and a woman with a friendly badge. She laughed more. Her voice became clearer. The first time she said, "Daddy, will you come to my class?" Arman wept and clapped until his hands hurt. They recorded that day and watched the shaky video again and again. Arman sat behind a desk labeled Mira Initiative. The plaque felt strange and right. He signed papers and listened to stories. Men came with broken tools and proud faces. He helped them build resume and fix bikes. He taught steady work in gentle ways to be fathers. He found a new kind of muscle, leadership that softened rather than hardened. Ilara visited sometimes. She watched from the doorway with a careful smile. So, the trust she had set up was released after legal work. The money did not erase their nights, but it made space. Arman used it for rent, a tutor for Mira, and a small repair shop on the side. He never flaunted the money. He wanted peace more than praise. A father named Hassan wrote a letter. "You gave me a job, and my son a father." A teacher invited Mira to read a poem. A local paper ran a line. "Mechanic becomes community leader." Strangers sent kind messages after seeing a clip of Mira speaking. Arman answered each with quiet thanks, surprised by the ripple. At night, they sat on a small rooftop and listened to the same radio song. She asked, He smiled and felt the word widen inside him. Always, he said. Mira's first daddy had changed more than a sound. It opened doors that were closed. It revealed a trust needing release. It gave Arman work that mattered, not charity that humiliated. It taught him help can be both apology and opportunity. The program grew slowly. Men learned skills. Children drew brighter pictures. Arman kept his wife's photo on his desk and told Mira about her laugh. He read to the children. He fixed a bike for a boy who had never had one. He made sure no father left hungry. They walked home hand in hand, steps light, carrying ordinary courage into ordinary days and triumphs. The radio hummed the old tune. Mira's laugh rose like a bell. A small title might appear. For fathers who kept faith, fade to black.